Kinjo is most likely gonna fall. Wow, I mean, I expected the third years to fall, but if this really is the end of Kinjo, I don't know what to say. I mean, I always thought he would have that final last battle with Fukutomi versus him, but if this really is the end, man, it's... Wow, the team is falling apart. I mean, Tadokoro falls in this episode, like, he literally just falls. And then right after that, soon as Tadokoro falls and falls back, Kinjo pretty much is about to fall. His legs are cramping up, and honestly, if we go back a couple episodes, there has been some visual signs of Kinjo's legs cramping up slightly, and so, technically, this overall event has been foreshadowed, so it's kind of shocking when you finally actually see it come to light, and now when he says at the end of this episode, is this the, you know, the tragedy of, like, being in a road race, and I'm like, oh my god, like, this is the dangers of being in a road race. You see how he is about to fall. And he couldn't predict that. So, it was obvious that something like this would happen. It was. But I did not expect it to happen so fast. I did not. And I mean, I didn't expect it right after Tadokoro in this episode. We know Tadokoro is pretty much gone. Kinjo's technically not officially gone, but I mean, his legs are cramping up. And I mean, there's not much you could really do for something like that. So, I don't know what I can possibly say. Shinkai on the Hakone Academy team, he most likely is going to fall very soon too, because I mean, he just pushed himself to the maximum to get to the mountain, so he will fall very soon. I'm willing to bet it. So this episode, man, is very intense, a very intense episode of Yowamushi Pedal, because I mean, you have a bunch of emotions, feelings, and different things all in this episode that pretty much shows what is really going on, and we can really tell we're on the final stretch of the Inter High. We can really tell we are, especially with this episode. Like, the opening change, did you see that kick-ass opening change? Like, oh my god, dude, that opening song. I really like that opening song a lot better than the first opening song from Season 2. That opening song is great. Oh, I fucking love it. Episode, man, I can't believe, man, seeing how Tadokoro went all out. Like, dude, that man is a boss. He literally went in, used all his strength, pushed himself to the maximum to win. That man is a freaking boss. Like, you have to where Naruto actually praises him, like, oh my god, you were so cool, and stuff like that, when he's pushing himself to the max. Like, you gotta love that moment in this episode when you see Tadokoro pushing himself on the pedals and all that, and you see representation of the animation around him, as you can really tell visually on his face. He was in pain. He was pushing himself. I mean, when you see him going down on those pedals slowly and all that, you see his body rocking. I'm like, oh my god, he is really freaking pushing himself. And it just shows you the intensity of this episode. And that is something Yowamushi Pedal usually does really good at showing. It really shows those emotions and tension that build up in the series. And that's exactly what this episode did. Now, let's look at this, okay? Tadokoro is out of the equation. He's fallen. And Shinkai, I'm willing to bet he's going to fall very soon. Fukutomi technically has the upper hand now because he is up front, he's going up the mountain, and technically all that time and effort that Tadokoro used before he sacrificed himself pretty much went to waste at the end of this episode because Kinjo fell behind. So technically, Tadokoro fell for nothing, to be honest. He fell to get, you know, Sohoku and Hakone Academy caught up together, but with the ending, Kinjo falls behind Hakone Academy, so all that, you know, effort that Tadokoro put in went to nothing. So, that's the tragedy of this episode. And Kinjo, if he does fall, it will eventually remain on what I think is going to happen. If Kinjo, let's say, definitely does fall, like, most likely if Kinjo does fall, majority of next episode is going to focus on Kinjo's fall. If he does fall next episode. But if he does fall, that means that we're going to have Maki that's going to be the actual lead frontrunner on the mountain climb. He'll probably be up front for a majority of the rest of the mountain run, and then Onoda will get up front, and then they'll be switching back and forth, and I'm willing to bet that Maki will sacrifice himself if Kinjo does fall. And then it'll be left up to Onoda and, you know, Imaizumi and Naruto to actually win the Inter High. So, That's what most likely is going to happen. So tell me your thoughts in the comments below. How do you feel about this episode? I mean, how do you feel about Kinjo? How do you feel about Tadokoro? Let me know in the comments below. I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.